Good afternoon. I'm the Deputy Majority Leader of the New York State Assembly, Phil Ramos, and we are here collectively, Long Island strong. I am joined by my colleagues in the legislature, Assemblywoman Mikhail Solages, Senator Kevin Thomas, Assemblywoman Kimberly Jean-Pierre, Assemblywoman Taylor Darling, and we are united for police reform. Police reform that comes today. Today is a call to action, and we have collectively joined together here. This is not just another press conference speaking out on our outrage. This is calling for action right now and today. Let's show some love to our brothers and sisters in Syracuse right now. Today, the members of the New York State Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Legislative Caucus have come together to simultaneously do press conferences throughout different regions of the state. In Long Island, we already introduced the members who are here. We're also joined by stakeholders from Long Island and some visionary leaders who have joined with us to speak out in call of action. As I said before, this is not just another press conference where we're going to speak out and speak of our outrage. We are calling for action today. Action that has to be done now, not later. We are tired of issues of communities of color being put on the back burner. If we allow this opportunity to get put on the back burner, we are setting back the civil rights movement in this country. The murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and countless other black and brown Americans by police officers are a stain on our nation's present, and it threatens our future. After more than a week of demonstrations in cities across the country, here and in New York, it is clear that our nation is at an inflection point. It is at a turning point. Our country is at a crossroads, and we must enact long overdue reforms as soon as possible. As a Suffolk County police officer, and I believe I'm the only member of the majority of our legislature who has had 20 years experience as a police officer. I was president of the Suffolk County Police Hispanic Society and took part in legal action while I was a police officer twice for racism against our department, for racism against our community, and changes were made, and Suffolk County is still under the consent decree of that federal lawsuit that we did years ago. So it is with that knowledge, with that experience, that I say that we have a list of bills that have to be passed. Some of them deal with the big issues. These are things that we have been fighting for years to get done. And now I believe we have the opportunity. And we have the opportunity, and we are demanding the opportunity. And we're not going to allow anybody to booby-trap this, as we see in the past. Whenever it comes out for issues for black and brown Americans, it's always not the right time, and we don't have the political will, and it's an independent caucus, or it's a Long Island 6, or whatever it is. Now is not the time for that. Now is the time for accountability for elected officials to come forward and do what is right in real police reforms. Now, when I say real police reforms, I know we have bills out there to create a special prosecutor. Important. I support that bill. We have bills out there to allow personnel records to be transparent. We have many bills out there. Many of them are important to do, but as a police officer, as an ex-police officer, I can tell you that many of them come into play after the fact, after the atrocity has already been occurred. So we can't be tempted by some of these things. We repeal 50A and that's our prize. No, we have to go further. We have to peel off the layers of the onion and get to the core, the intrinsic problems, the structural problems that create a situation where black and brown persons can be treated as second-class citizens, can be killed for doing normal things, where speaking back to a police officer is a crime by death. We have to change that, and now is the opportunity. Now, we need to first understand that, well, of course, we all hear, well, this is about the few bad apples, and we've heard that. And I can tell you as a police officer, yes, it's true. We have many good police officers who do heroic things, day in, day out. You don't read about it in the papers. You read about when somebody, does something wrong, but you don't read about the good stuff. All that is true. But I don't define a good police officer as someone who stands there with their hands in their pocket while a black man is being murdered by their colleagues. And that is why I have introduced legislation that makes police officers into mandated reporters. They're committing a criminal act if they don't intercede to stop in the murder of black or brown people. And with it, we need to impose penalties as well. There's a lot of things that we have to do, because what happens is by the time it gets to a special prosecutor, by the time we get to the criminal justice system, after somebody has been murdered, we're not getting to the real key problem, which I'm hoping that we get to now with our legislation, and that is that many of these investigations against police officers are poisoned the minute the shooting starts. And then when it does get to a special prosecutor, remember, special prosecutor is not there on the day of the crime. On the day of the crime is when the key evidence is being produced. And we don't have enough protocols for that to protect the crime scene, to make sure that police do not conduct what's called a negative investigation. Negative investigation is meant to prove somebody innocent, not to prove them guilty. So we have to mandate those protocols from the inside. This is not sexy legislation, but these are things that are necessary to dismantle and take down that blue wall of silence. In conclusion, I would like to say that today is a call to action. This is not just another demonstration. Today is the day in which we can set into motion the codification of policies that can undo hundreds of years of bias and the things that we see happening. The bias in this country and the racism has reached psychotic levels. When somebody can see a black man on video saying, "I can't breathe," when somebody can see the audience, the people watching this saying, "You are killing him," when another police officer says he has no pulse, should you get off his neck, and they allow the guy to be on his neck for 12 minutes, for 3 minutes after that, that is a psychosis. That is psychosis, yet we see people trying to defend that. We see a president using the military to tear gas people so he can come out and take a photo with a Bible. And I hear in the news all the time, why did he do that? What was his purpose? We know the purpose. In the following days, they continue to push them back. The purpose is the optic of the president walking out with the military behind him, pushing black people, pushing them further away, marginalizing them. That is the imagery that he wants to put out, and that is what we are going to end here. We need laws of substance. Please, we ask all of you to read the laws that are being put forward and make sure they go beyond the superficial. I have introduced a law that says that the police department must be proactive on people who call the police on a black person and it's an unfounded report. But we must not just stop there. It is already illegal to file a false police report. What's the root of the problem? The police are not arresting them. So the bill that I have has written in it a pro-arrest policy similar to what we have with domestic violence. If the police had probable cause, like we did in the woman who videoed that and we saw that she was not being attacked or threatened, we have the proof there. Why was she not arrested? The police have an obligation under this bill to arrest her. They can't use their discretion. We have to take that discretion away from them. Look how psychotic the racism is. Look at the difference in the two-tiered criminal justice system. A black man suspected of passing a $20 bill counterfeit. The police arrive, immediately put him in cuffs before an investigation is conducted, brutalize him, give him the death sentence, all within minutes. The police officer who we saw do that on videotape doesn't get arrested until a week later. He's given the courtesy of going home. How is that? How can anybody look at that and not see a psychosis gripping this country? A psychosis of racism, starting from the president who, by using the military, wants to take patriotism and turn it into patriotism against our people. Lastly, I want everybody here what we have to do doesn't just lie on the elected officials here. It lies on the shoulders of each and every one of you. You need to reach out to your assembly persons. You need to reach out to your senator, and you need to tell them that they need to support and vote yes on our series of bills, and tell them that if they are not behind you, they are in your way. And if they are in your way, then we are going to be in their way of their political ambitions. May God bless you all. Let's take action. Let's do it.